Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely? Not a stranger, not an enemy, but someone you called a friend. Imagine this. You are sick, weak, leading the largest empire in the world. And while you're fighting to stay alive, your most trusted general declares you are dead and takes your throne. That's not fiction. That's exactly what happened to Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, a man who had power, wisdom, and every reason to retaliate. But instead, he did something no one expected. In this story, we'll follow what Marcus did next, how he responded without hatred, without revenge, and what this ancient betrayal can teach us today about self-control, dignity, and true power. This isn't just a history lesson. This is a test of character, and how you respond could change everything. It was the year 175 AD. After years of war at the empire's borders, Marcus Aurelius was tired, sick, his body weakened by battles fought both on the outside and within. But the empire was still standing, and at its eastern front, Marcus had placed his trust in a man he deeply respected, General Avidius Cassius, a loyal commander, a friend, a man Marcus once considered strong, capable, even worthy of admiration. But then the rumors came that Marcus had died, that Rome no longer had an emperor, and in the shadow of that rumor, Cassius made his move. Without a word to Marcus, without waiting for truth, he declared himself the new emperor of Rome. Not in secret, not with shame, but boldly, publicly, as if the friendship, the loyalty, the years had never mattered. In a moment, a trusted friend became a public traitor, and the empire Marcus had held together for decades was suddenly divided. What would you do if that were you? If the man you trusted most tried to take everything from you while you were too weak to even stand? Most would answer with rage. Marcus chose differently. News reached Marcus. He was alive, and now he knew. The man he had trusted with an army had used that army against him. Around him, senators and generals demanded swift retaliation. Send the legions, they said. Crush Cassius before he gains more power. But Marcus didn't shout. He didn't call for blood. He didn't even curse Cassius's name. Instead, he paused. And then he wrote a letter, not a declaration of war, but a message, asking his commanders to stay calm, to avoid unnecessary violence, to give Cassius time to reconsider and possibly return to reason. Marcus believed that even a traitor might simply be a man who made a mistake. And Marcus, above all, did not want more Roman lives lost because of one man's ambition. So he gathered his strength, he gathered his legions, and he began marching east, not with rage in his heart, but with a mission to restore order without vengeance. To those who expected fury, Marcus responded with discipline. To betrayal, he answered with reason, because he knew power isn't shown in how loud you roar, but in how calmly you walk into chaos. Before Marcus even reached him, Cassius was dead. One of his own men had assassinated him, perhaps to win favor with Marcus, perhaps to end the rebellion quickly. The man who had once stood as a friend now lay fallen by his own campfire, and with him, the revolt ended. Marcus had won. Rome was safe. And yet, there were no celebrations, no parades, no speeches of triumph. Marcus didn't rejoice. He didn't claim victory. He didn't even speak Cassius's name. Instead, he did something almost no ruler in history had ever done. He forbade any celebration of Cassius's death. He protected Cassius's family from harm, and he urged his people to move forward, without bitterness, without revenge, without hate. Because Marcus understood, when you celebrate the fall of a friend, you lose more than they ever took from you. His heart was steady, his mind clear, his dignity untouched. And in that moment, Marcus Aurelius showed the world that true strength is not in conquering others, but in conquering yourself. But maybe you're still wondering, why didn't Marcus punish Cassius's family? Why didn't he take the chance to show his strength? Was it weakness or something far more powerful? What Marcus did that day wasn't just the act of a ruler, it was the act of a philosopher. A man who had trained his mind for moments exactly like this. The story isn't over. Don't leave this video just yet. Because in the next few minutes, you'll see how Marcus's restraint wasn't surrender, it was mastery, and how his calm response to betrayal holds a lesson that could change how you face the chaos in your own life. So stay with me, because what comes next isn't about ancient Rome, it's about you. Marcus Aurelius had every excuse to be angry. Betrayal, humiliation, a close friend turning against him at his weakest moment. But instead of lashing out, he paused. Instead of seeking revenge, he chose restraint. And in that pause, he revealed something timeless. That true strength doesn't explode, it endures. The Stoics taught you don't control others, you control yourself. Epictetus once said, any person capable of anger is a slave to it. Marcus understood this deeply. He knew that every time you react without thinking, you surrender your peace to the thing that triggered you. And no one is worth that much. That's why he didn't punish Cassius's family, why he didn't celebrate victory, why he chose not to mention Cassius again. Because the goal wasn't domination, it was discipline. Not to win, but to remain whole. And maybe you felt that sting too. A friend turning cold, a partner walking away, a moment where anger felt like the only option. But Marcus showed us another way. You don't need to shout to show strength. You don't need to strike back to stay powerful. Because the greatest victory is walking away with your peace intact. So what does this mean for you? You're not an emperor, but maybe you've been betrayed, disrespected, misunderstood by someone you trusted. And in that moment, every instinct tells you to fight back, to prove your worth, to say something that stings. But here's the truth. Your power is not in your reaction, it's in your restraint. Marcus could have destroyed Cassius's legacy. Instead, he protected it, not because Cassius deserved it, but because Marcus refused to be shaped by someone else's failure. You can do the same. When someone talks down to you, you don't need to shout. When someone betrays your trust, you don't need to mirror their weakness. You pause, you breathe, you choose dignity over drama. Because being stoic doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you decide what's worth your energy. And in a world that rewards outrage, self-control is a quiet revolution. That's the gift of this story. Not just to admire Marcus Aurelius, but to become more like him. Calm in chaos, grounded in storms, and untouchable where it matters most. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal from someone he trusted. But instead of revenge, he chose restraint. Instead of anger, he chose clarity. And in doing so, he showed us what real power looks like. Not the power to conquer others, but the power to master yourself. Thank you for watching, for staying through the end, and for giving yourself this space to reflect, to grow, to lead from within. Now let me ask you, have you ever faced betrayal or disrespect and chose not to react? How did it feel? Or if you didn't, what would you do differently now? Share your thoughts in the comments. We read everyone, and this space becomes more powerful when you're part of it. If you found something meaningful in this video, subscribe to Life Wisdom. We don't post noise. We build something quieter, something stronger. And if this video gave you value, don't miss the next one. Because what's coming might just be the missing piece you've been waiting for. Until then, walk with calm, lead your mind, and let no storm define you.